What's up, my Halo dudes? This is a very simple video right here. Halo Infinite needs more maps. Desperately. Desperately. This is basically the single-handed thing that's kind of pulled me away from the game. Love the gunplay. Love the movement. Love the gameplay. Love all that shit. There's just not enough maps. And it's not just that there's not enough maps, it's the fact that the maps that you do have, a lot of them are very similar, you know, especially like the big team battle maps. They're all basically the same standard woodland biome. It's just one of them is nighttime, one of them's like daytime, and then another one is like a different kind of area, you know, like that old classic Combat Evolved style woodland. That's all they really have for big team battle maps. I'm just so confused and here we are however many months after launch of Halo Infinite. Of all things that could potentially bring this game down, the lack thereof of maps or map variation is one of the biggest things on the list. Not really gameplay. Not really movement, not really gunplay, not really, you know, too much of any of that kind of stuff. I think now in today's age, especially when you're trying to come out with these like arcade shooters, it's not the same as it used to be back in the day. I feel like you need 2 or 3 times as many maps now on a standard arcade shooter to keep it like fun and interesting, you know, because it just doesn't have as much replayability nowadays as it did back in the day when you were first getting into like Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, you know, Call of Duty, the first Modern Warfare, all those kind of games. That was really when everybody got their first taste of that like real multiplayer arcade style shooter. Obviously there was more games before that, but let's not get to that, right? Let's not get caught up on that. Obviously there was, you know, Quake and all that kind of crap before, but you know, that's what introduced kind of the mass audience to that arcade arena style shooter, right? Was like Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, Halo 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, World at War, and then obviously into Modern Warfare 2 and stuff like that. But we're so far past those days that I feel like you almost have to make up for it at this point, right? And if you don't have enough maps, you can have the best gameplay in the world. And I feel like Halo Infinite's gameplay is really good. It's one of the best ones I've played since the old school, you know, trilogy, right? But for me personally, when I'm sitting there in a certain kind of game mode, whether it's like Team Slayer or free-for-all or big team battle or whatever, and I just feel like I'm going to the same maps, the same kind of maps over and over and over. No matter how good your gameplay is, you get such a repetitive feeling with going to the same map over and over and over that it diminishes every other element of the game when you don't have enough map content. You don't have enough maps in the game. Like, I cannot believe they didn't come out with a big team battle snow map on this game, or like a big team battle desert map like the one on Halo 3, like the sandy style big team battle map. There's just nowhere near as many different biomes that I thought they would have. A lot of the standard like Team Slayer maps, they're kind of like just like a Call of Duty map in a sense, really. I mean, when it comes to the aesthetic of it, I feel like they don't have enough. Obviously, the big team battle maps are cool. They're a throwback to the original Halo, but a lot of their standard maps, I just wasn't all that impressed with the biome design or like the, you know, the interactables on the map. It just didn't seem to have that, whatever that special touch the first 3 Halo games had on a lot of their maps. I just didn't really notice that with a lot of the maps on Halo Infinite. I think they need to be coming out with a new map for this game like every couple of weeks. I mean, I think it's something they need to do. They need to come out with a new map of some kind for this game literally every 2 weeks for like the next 2 years. 2 or 3 years. if they really want this game to develop into that super replayable, experience that a Halo normally has to it, I feel like sitting there just drilling in, playing into the same 2 or 3, Team Slayer maps over and over and over and over and over. You got to be a next level, dedicated professional esports level first-person shooter player to be able to kind of deal with that repetitiveness, But when you talk about your mass audience and your mass people playing these games, they're going to get tired of that. They're going to get bored of that. No matter how good your gameplay is, you got to have more map content. I don't think there's as many medium-sized maps in this game as I thought they would have had. There's really only 1 or 2 in there. And then it's just really small corridor shotgun style maps, and then the big team battle maps. You only have 1 or 2 medium-sized maps. I think they need a good 5 to 10 medium-sized maps, a good 10 small maps, and then a good 5 big team battle maps, right? I think if they can get all that in there, like a big team battle snow map, big team battle desert dune style map, another 3 or 4 medium-sized maps, and then another 1 or 2 small maps that are completely different biome design than the ones that they currently have, all that in there, and I think it would drastically help the replayability of Halo Infinite. This is not like playing on a battle royale map that are just fucking humongous and so many different, for instance, PUBG, right? Before it had all the different maps, there was so much replayability to that original PUBG map because it's like you always land. Well, I say always, not everybody. Some people just land in the same spot every time, but I was one of those guys, I would go land over here, then I would land over there, and then if you're playing in solo, it was completely different than playing with your buddies, teammates. It changed. It's like you were almost on a different map every time you played because the zone would put you somewhere else. Especially when they start adding the weather effects to it, sometimes you'd have the rain on that original PUBG map, and then sometimes it'd be sunny, sometimes it'd be morning style. It was just so much more replayability out of that one map than you would have, for instance, on one of the standard Team Slayer maps of Halo Infinite. It's just not even the same comparison. So you have to make so many more maps to make up for that lack thereof of replayability with your map design, with a like I was saying, going back to the start of this video, that arena shooter. If you're gonna keep that arena shooter style game, you got to have more maps at this point. Period. I'm talking way more maps. At least Halo Infinite needs at least triple the amount of maps in it that it currently has. I'm talking at least triple. It'd be better to have more quadruple or 5 times the amount of maps that it has, but it needs triple the amount of maps, bare minimum, to really keep me engaged in the game for longer than, a couple weeks or something like that. It's going to need some more maps, dude. Even on when there's a newer Call of Duty that'll come out and it seems like you're just rotating through those same fucking maps, I just can't do that anymore. So from a longtime player of all these, arena style shooters up through the past decade, plus, I can't stand to sit there and play on those same maps like that. It was different back in the Halo 2 and Halo 3 days because, like I'm saying, that was still such a fresh experience for everybody. The genre was just getting into its prime in that sense. Multiplayer, arena, shooter, everybody was into it. Halo was still a new thing at that time. I feel like it was so much easier back then to just play on, 7, 8, 9, 10 maps in an entire game. It was easier to play on that many maps back in those days than it is now. I feel like there's so much more of a requirement for more maps now than it was back then. And I just don't feel like any of the Halo Infinite maps are super memorable or super legendary like you would have had on a bunch of the Halo 3 multiplayer maps, specifically some of the Halo 2 maps, even some of the Halo 1 maps. I don't feel like any of them on Halo Infinite has fully reached that legendary caliber. At least in my own personal opinion, I just don't feel like it has. So hopefully they can get some better map content. Definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I think it's crucial. I think it's critical. Probably the most crucial thing they could be doing. I mean, yeah, I know they have a lot of problems with the store and the microtransactions and the customization, stuff like that, but I think the maps is going to be one of those things. If they don't start adding a lot of new maps really soon, you're just going to feel like you're playing that Halo Infinite multiplayer beta that you were playing all the way, or that tech preview, you know, when that first came out last year. You're just going to feel like you're still playing that same shit if they don't start putting new maps in there, period. So either way, I think it's critical for 343 to hop on this as soon as they can. Critical, bro. Either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.